Greetings to you, my fellow people. Accept greetings from me, my family. I come to you today with a bigger burden, with a lot of questions that have been going through my mind over the years, and I don't seem to find answers to this question. And I feel like I have to air it out and bring it out so maybe I can get some help and assistance out there on how to go about resolving these issues. These are societal problems that I have been trying to find answers to so I can be able to tell my kids, and not just my kids, but every other person that I have the opportunity to share my views with outside. And my worries are this. You know, we live in a society that has been terribly changed in a way that nobody else understands. And even the people who think they understand do not understand. And this is a call for concern, a big call for concern. Our political systems have been compromised. Our religious institutions have been compromised. Our educational system has been compromised. And every other department you can think of in the society that we live in has been compromised. Having the wrong people in the right places leading us, it's not going to take us anywhere that we are geared towards going to. And my question is, how do we change this? Look at what is happening, the political system. Look at the type of leaders that we have. Look at the decisions that they're making. Look at the policymakers and look at the decisions that they're making. Look at the laws that they're putting in place and see how they're affecting our children. See how they're affecting us. And we are not doing anything about it. Look at our religious institutions, our pastors, our deacons, our priests. They have compromised the gospel in which they were called to preach. And they're now even going around lobbying around politicians and getting huge sums of money and not doing what they're supposed to do. You see how crazy the world is. You see where the world is leading us to? Nobody. We don't even have anybody to rely on. We don't have anybody to trust on. We don't have anybody to look up to. What do? Look at our kids. What they're being taught in school these days is ridiculous. They're being taught how to hate one another. They're being taught how to practice prejudice or whatever you can call it. They're being taught how to differentiate between color, black and white, Latino, whatever you can call it, Indians and all that kind of stuff. They're being taught these things, not just in schools, but at home. And some of it are their parents. Some of us parents are teaching our kids the things we shouldn't be teaching our kids. These are call for consent. We have to do something about this. And my consent goes especially to our religious institutions that they're not doing the job to which they were called to do. They have compromised the gospel. And that is why they do not preach about the ills of the society. They're not talking about what is happening in the society because they sit in there and the people who are committing these crimes comes into the churches, influence into the churches, give them money, and they take this money, put into their pocket and be like, well, they can say whatever they want to say. There are still the Egyptian kings in the world. I want the Christians to understand this. We still have a whole bunch of Egyptian Christians. Look around the leadership in the world. You will see that we still have a bunch of Egyptian Christians. But how many of the pastors, how many of the priests are telling them to let my people go as Moses did? Which of our priests today are taking the place of Moses? Which of our pastors today are taking the place of Moses? They have compromised everything. In leadership position, look at the leadership qualities of Abraham, King Solomon, and all those stuff. Which of our leaders today are taking those responsibilities? No, they're not. They're not taking those responsibilities. They're going around to look for people, a group of people that are practicing some unnecessary things that the society does not need to progress. And they go and they say, well, if you vote for me, I will promote what you're doing. If you vote for me, I will do this. They're not giving the people what is right. They're giving the people what they want. I want you to understand that democracy, which is the government of the people, for the people, and by the people, does not mean that there is no regulation. Does not mean that people cannot be told what to do and what not to do. There has to be a constitution, and that constitution has to spells out the rules and the regulations that govern a society, that tells the citizens what they should do and what they should not do, not excluding the very right things that are supposed to be done. Not just because people want this, it is people's body, they can choose to do whatever they want to do with, and because you see it like that, you accept it because you want to find yourself in a position of governing. This is not the world, this is not what we are supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be acting right. Go to other countries, go to places like Cameroon, see what is happening. A government is sending military people to kill civilians, burning down people's hard-earned facilities, buildings, and homes, thatched homes, sending people out in the bushes to where they have nowhere to spend the night, where they don't even know where their next meal will come from. Not just in Africa. And the worst part of it is that the African people are looking up to the Europeans to come and solve their problem. How can you look up to somebody who creates your problem in the first place to solve your problem? That's not going to work. That is not going to work. We have to see things differently, act differently, and treat things differently. Especially if you have kids, you're listening to me, think about the future of your children. The political system has been compromised. The educational system has been compromised. Our religious institutions have been compromised. And everything else has been compromised. You have a role to play in the life of your kids, so that before they get out there, they should know a little bit about what they should do and what they shouldn't do, so that they are not taught what the society will impact into their lives. They're going to learn some things in the society, but be a role model in your family. Teach your children the do's and the don'ts. We owe our children this responsibility. But I still want to understand, why do we allow these things to happen? Why do we allow our leaders to make these decisions? Or why do we give them the position to decide what happens to our lives? We are forgetting something, and we need to get back to it. And what we're forgetting is the old way, it's a better way. The new adaptation, the technology is fine, but we cannot abandon what taught us a better way to live to embrace what is teaching us the worst way to live. What is happening in the society? Before, you could have your kids play with the kids, with the neighbors. You could sit in your house and worry not about your kids playing outside with the neighbors' children. We can't have that society anymore. The politicians are tearing us apart. They're dividing. They started by dividing the country. And now they've succeeded to divide the country. Now they're going further to break down the cities. Now they succeeded to break down the cities. They're breaking down the quarters. They've broken down everything to a point where they are getting into our homes. They will break down our homes, and we will have nothing to build on anymore. And this is all done by the politicians. We're listening to them, and they are going ahead and tearing down our societies. We will have nothing to live on in years to come. All what our parents built on will be destroyed by the present regimes if we do not take action. We, the youths who understand these things, we need to do something for the sake of our children. Because if we don't do something, our children will have to pay the price. I don't think that you want your children to pay the price of something you can fix now. Let's get to work, get to doing it, preach it out there, tell them what they're doing that is not right. Tell them the rules and the regulations that they are put in place that